school system. And Snoop Dogg was joined by the K-pop Demon Hunters for his holiday halftime show on Netflix as the Detroit Lions took on the Minnesota Vikings in Minneapolis on Christmas. The Vikings ended up beating the Lions 23-10. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Good morning, wake up.
The Good Morning Show.
Good morning.
On WBOK.
Good morning, just for extra measure. Good morning. No, I'll do another good morning. Good morning. I'm Eddie Francis in for Will Sutton on the Good Morning Show, and hanging out this morning, Dr. Andrea Boyles. How are you?
I'm good. Good morning, everyone. It's so wonderful to be on with you all this morning.
So I'm just meeting Dr. Boyles. I have no idea what's going to come of this show. I don't know.
It will be great.
It's going to be great. Good.
It's going to be great.
Speak, yes. Sister. That's what I'm talking about.
Yes.
It's gonna be a great show. So there was this thing. So I was once upon a time, I was the director of public relations at SUNO, Southern University of New Orleans, and my son at the time was 3. He was 3 or 4. Uh-huh. So I would bring him to work sometimes, and I had a coworker who said, "I love it when you bring your son to work." And I said, "Well, why?" And she goes, "Because he always lets us know that he's going to have a good day."
Oh, right.
And he would do that. He was like, "Today is going to be a good day." And so, every time somebody's like, "Oh, today is going to be a good day," I'm like, "Oh, it's just like that kid. He said it all the time."
That's right. Say it. Speak it. Put it in the atmosphere.
So today we have our check-in today with New Orleans and Company. They're going to come in at 8:30. They're going to talk about 2025 and taking a look back. And, you know, there is a question that I have for folks. So do you know, Dr. Boyles, how we get on social media and all these people say, "Oh, I'm so done with this year.
Yes.
I'm ready for the next year."
Yes.
Every year.
Yes.
Every single year.
Every year.
I'm done with 2020. It's time for 2021. I'm done with 1990. I'm ready for 1991. Yes. But here's my question about 2025 going into 2026, the WBOK audience. I would love to hear from you, and we can talk about this as well.
Sure.
What would you like to take into 2026? I mean, 2025 isn't all bad. We all woke up today.
Sure.
God willing, we're going to wake up tomorrow.
Which is the best thing.
Which means you wake up, you get another chance. You get another chance to do it all over again. So God willing, we all wake up again tomorrow, and tomorrow is 2026. What would you like to take into 2026 that you had in 2025? Even if 2025 wasn't such a great year for you.
Sure.
You know, what are you looking forward to having that opportunity to do all over again? My thing is I have wanted to invest more in my learning. Mm-hmm. And so I am actually in the process of going through free courses. I found all these free courses from Harvard and NYU.
That's great.
And so I'm going, wait a minute, these courses are free?
Right. Absolutely.
What do I have to lose?
Yes.
So I'm actually going to start, if not tomorrow, I'm going to start on Friday. Tomorrow I'm going to dedicate tomorrow to writing. I'm going to do a lot of writing tomorrow. Okay. Tomorrow's going to be a creative day. But Friday, I'm actually going to start. I saw a free course from NYU, an intro to sociology course.
Wow, that's me. That would be my area.
So yes. There you go.
Good choice.
Thank you. I when I look back at college, I really wish I had understood what sociology was all about, because I would have taken sociology.
You should have.
Yeah, I really would. I'm fascinated by human behavior.
Yes.
And it's actually a very, my major was mass communication. So
Yeah.
sociology is a very good pairing with mass
It
communication.
is.
And
It
so
is.
I'm excited about
It's
starting
a
this
very
free
good
course.
parent with everything.
It
I'm
is.
going to stretch it.
It is. And,
Yes.
and so just so you know this, and I was just telling Dr. Boyles that one of her colleagues at Tulane is my wife, Alima. Her master's is in the sociology of education.
All right.
And so I
Yes.
get to hear a lot of sociological perspectives about
Absolutely.
things.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
I would like to ask you this, though, before we get into the conversation about what you want to take from 2025 into 2026. As a sociologist, what is something that you really wish Black folks understood about us as a community? You might hear some things come up in conversation, and in your sociologist mind, you're going, well,
Sure. Sure.
Is there anything that you think about sometimes? You say, I really wish that we all understood this as a group or as a community.
Yeah, that's such a loaded question, but a good one,
Yeah,
nevertheless. And so, yes, as a sociologist, I will give a sociological perspective on that. But I also want to be clear that I am speaking here in my personal capacity. And so, with that said, one of the things just generally I wish people could practice is making connections across the board, like systemic connections, structural connections, that kind of thing, events that occur in our society, be that local, national, or internationally. I wish that we could do better about making connections more often than not. I hear people talk about incidents as if they are isolated. And I get it, right? I understand that there are some things that have unique ways in which they might show up in some sense, or, maybe there's some variations in the context in which, they emerged or how they came to be. And so my point in saying that is that I understand that there may be some differing, dynamics about things. But by and large, there is nothing. And this is what I tell students and folks beyond, institutions and otherwise. There is nothing that occurs on the face of the earth that is not in some way interdependent and interconnected of one another. There's nothing happening in a vacuum. And so I think more specific to the Black community, I think that sometimes, even when we discuss issues, I think sometimes, and we're human, so we're not separate, of society, but I think that sometimes we too tend to not make connections. And so in that respect, we tend to, especially when it comes to liberation and those kinds of things, I think it tends to be a disadvantage because we might argue or resist on various issues, sometimes not be on the same page with one another. And that's crucial for our community. We need solidarity, if nothing else. We need to act and move and think, not necessarily the exact same. And we don't even have to act the same, but we do, I think, find strength in our ability to think about the ways in which we face disadvantage, be that economic or otherwise, to be able to think about that in very connected ways, even if our thoughts are, again, different, to be able to make the necessary connections. Like, for example, if I gave you an example, to understand that, policing, right? Policing doesn't just happen if that's an issue in our community, right? It is. Let me be clear. Policing, or at least racialized policing, it's not just an issue because now it is, as it occurs in the neighborhood. It might also be an issue to think about policing, what that looks like and means in the school system, with resource officers and things like that. It may also be an issue when we think about the ways in which we get police through legislation, So there may not necessarily be a law enforcement officer present, but the ways in which we are restricted, our behaviors and things like that, the way we are able to mobilize economically and otherwise, those things are policed. The way we think about policing that occurs maybe around, voting and those kinds of things. It's about enforcing, right, a particular idea or particular way of approaching things that comports with the state, perhaps. So I can run a gamut, right? Just on that one word, policing.
Yeah.
So it's connecting in that way. Yeah.
Okay. So
across issues.
There are a couple of things I want to come back to. So one thing I do want to get into this conversation about connection and the importance of connection and being interconnected. But I also want to come back to the question for folks, what do you want to take from 2025 into 2026? Now, that number, of course, is 504-582-9422, 504-582-9422. This is the Good Morning Show. I'm Eddie Francis, in for Will Sutton. Dr. Andrea Boyles is joining us this morning on WBOK, what New Orleans is talking about.
This is your news update for WBOK from WDSU. For all your news and weather, watch WDSU News, New Orleans' leader in live, local, late-breaking news. Today at noon and 4 p.m.
Good morning and happy New Year's Eve. I'm Morgan Lentis with WDSU News, and here's a look at today's headlines. The New Orleans Police Department is investigating a shooting in Algiers. We're told it happened around 12:15 this morning on Plymouth Place near Somerset Drive. Police say a man was shot and taken to a local hospital. There's no word on his condition or if a suspect has been identified. Then, as we prepare to mark the one-year anniversary of the New Year's Day terror attack that killed 14 people, Governor Jeff Landry has announced a 4-day mourning period. It is set to begin at 3:15 tomorrow morning with flags at half-staff. Landry is also asking all churches to ring 14 bells at 3:15 p.m. Sunday to remember the 14 people who died. Lastly, people across Louisiana are encouraged to wear green and yellow to represent harmony and happiness. That's also on Sunday. Then Georgia and Ole Miss will face off in the Sugar Bowl tomorrow night, but the festivities kick off today leading up to the big game. That includes a parade starting at 2 p.m. today at Elysian Fields in Decatur, and then the Sugar Bowl Fest is happening from 3 to 6 p.m. That's at the Audubon Aquarium also today. Lastly, a quick reminder that the city will ring in the new year with fireworks in the annual Fleur-de-Lis drop at midnight. The drop is happening in Jackson Square, and you can watch the fireworks at nearby Woldenberg Park. And that is a look at today's headlines. I'm Morgan Lentis with WDSU News. Have a happy new year.
Missed a show? Want to hear that guest everyone's talking about? WBOK is now streaming on all your favorite podcast apps. Just search WBOK Media, hit download, share with a friend, and don't forget to rate your favorite shows 5 stars. Because when our voices are heard, our impact grows.
This is Dr. Jaquil Ross from New Schools for New Orleans, wishing everyone a warm and inviting holiday season.
Good morning, wake up.
The Good Morning Show.
Good morning.
On WBOK.
And good morning. Welcome back to the Good Morning Show. I'm Eddie Francis, and for Will Sutton. Dr. Andrea Boyles is joining us.
Yes, good
Sociologist extraordinaire.
Thank you.
Happy Kwanzaa to you, by the way.
Yes.
Today, we celebrate Kuumba, creativity. Calls on us to use our spiritual and social energy to engage in restorative practices as a way of leaving our communities more beautiful and beneficial than we found them. Today, if you want to enjoy a Kwanzaa celebration, you can do so at the Community Book Center, one of my favorite places. I haven't been there in such a long time, 2523 Bayou Road. And so today is going to be a youth panel, and there are going to be poets at the Community Book Center at 1 p.m. 1 p.m. So you decide you're going to get out of work early, stop by the Community Book Center today. Enjoy Kwanzaa with them. Now, since we won't be doing the show live tomorrow, January 1st, to kick off the new year in this season of harvest, we celebrate Imani, faith. And there are actually a couple of Kwanzaa celebrations that you can join tomorrow. One from the New Orleans Kwanzaa Coalition, Walking in Faith, a run, walk, or bike, starting at the New Orleans Museum of Art, and that's going to be at 1 p.m. But then also there's a Kwanzaa celebration at another one of my favorite places in the city, the TEP Center, 5909 St. Claude, and they are going to have their celebration starting at 4 p.m. There's going to be free food and music. You're invited to wear African attire or red, black, and or green. You can RSVP Leona at tepcenter.org, as in Dr. Leona Tate, who is at the TEP Center. So again, today, if you want to enjoy Kwanzaa with the Community Book Center, that's at 1 p.m., 2523 Bayou Road. Tomorrow, if you want to enjoy Kwanzaa celebrations, there's another celebration at 1 p.m. with the New Orleans Kwanzaa Coalition, Walking in Faith, a run, walk, or a bike, starting at the New Orleans Museum of Art. And then also tomorrow at 4 p.m., a Kwanzaa celebration at the TEP Center. That starts at 4 p.m., and they have free food and music. You're invited to wear African attire, red, black, or green. But this one, they're asking for an RSVP. So make sure you email Leona at tepcenter.org. And please go out, celebrate Kwanzaa. And you know, one of the things I think people forget about Kwanzaa is that one of the purposes is for us to reflect.
Yes.
And to reflect on the year that we've had, but then also the year that we want.
Yes.
And so there was something I tried to do this year. I tried to do it and I forgot to do it. But in June, I actually said to myself one day, you know, I'm going to go and check on the Kwanzaa principles and see how I'm doing on each principle, you know, and I'm going to check in with myself. And I completely forgot to do it. I dropped the ball. But I'm going to put it on my calendar this time so I can remember to do it.
To circle back.
Yeah.
Self-reflect.
Yeah. Self-reflection is so valuable.
It is.
That's one thing I'm learning. And, you know, I teach a college course with Southern New Hampshire, and one of my favorite things to do is assign students reflection papers because it gives them an opportunity to really think through things that have happened in the classroom.
Absolutely.
And I love reading reflection papers from students. So we started out talking about a couple of things. I really am interested in hearing 2025. What do you want to bring into 2026? So yes, we know there are things we want to leave behind. 2025 was a rough season or a rough year for a lot of folks for a few reasons. But then what do we want to take forward into 2026? So let's think about what we want as opposed to what we didn't like.
Sure.
I think that really helps people. But then you started on a very interesting track, Dr. Boyles, in talking about the value of connection as a sociologist, and something that you really would like to see Black folks invest in a lot more. You know, that sense of connection. So I want to ask you this. Why is connection so valuable for us?
Connection, is valuable because, one, it helps us to kind of think about the world and things that are occurring. Again, I say the world, but I mean local, national, international, right? Things that are occurring, to think about them in cause and effect kinds of ways, but not only cause and effect, but also think about it in terms of impact, right? I think sometimes we don't think about, or we're unable to think about the extended impact of things. Like there's an extension in how things or people or come to be affected, or how one situation that occurs locally or otherwise can trigger a domino effect in terms of a host of things, right? Like, I think sometimes we're so overwhelmed, and this is me just speaking generally, you know, it can certainly vary because Black folks are not monolithic people, right. But it can vary from one to the other. But I just think that generally, sometimes we might, let's say, hop on an issue, you know, some emerging issue or some occurrence, and think that, you know, oh, well, that has nothing to do with me, so I won't involve myself.
A good example would be voting.
Yes.
We bring up voting, and people say, well, I'm not going to vote. That doesn't have anything to do with me.
Yeah, you know, and so also I understand us being, meaning, Black folks in particularly being apathetic when it comes to voting. So I get that also. And I understand also in terms of connectedness, like we can have a conversation about that too, right? How that emerges, what, in what ways that continues to be perpetuated, that people find themselves in that space and feeling that way. But I just think generally, even if we're talking about voting, or anything political or otherwise, everything is political, in fact. So let me say that. I think that sometimes we speak about things or we think about them only as they relate or do not relate to us. And I'm thinking, what does that mean, right? Oh, that doesn't affect me, or that doesn't affect my family, or that doesn't affect my neighborhood. It doesn't? Let's think about that. I can certainly unpack. There's no one situation or no one issue that I can't unpack, literally, that does not have an effect directly or indirectly on me and my community. I would like for us to be able to do that as a people. And again, it's not unique to us that we don't in some ways. And it's also not to say that we never do or that none of us do. I'm saying I would like for us as a whole or, to practice that and to sort of move and think about, the world that we live in that way, that whatever is happening, specific to my neighborhood or my community or what have you, is not unique. It is also not separate of what is happening perhaps to folks around the nation or maybe folks around the world. I can unpack the economy. You know what I mean? Yeah. And see the effects of what that means, be that local, national, or otherwise. And more specifically, what that means in terms of my community, meaning Black people. So I can run a gamut on it. There's a lot, here to clearly understand. But I think the sense that I'm trying to communicate is that, there's this saying, and I'm probably going to say it wrong, so I'm paraphrasing you all. But, the understanding is that when we speak about Black folks, we could talk about the diaspora, right? We can have a conversation about Black folks all around the world. We're global. We're not just a, New Orleans or just a United States people. We're global, right? Then we can break that down and have a conversation about what it means to be African American, what it means to be, perhaps Jamaican or what does it mean to be Black in Britain? We can have a conversation and still think about the variations and differences and experiences, but also be able to understand the connected ways in which we might experience oppression.
Yeah. So there was this, I wouldn't call it a trend, but there was this relationship that was built on TikTok about a year ago, and it's kind of died down a little bit, but it was so great to watch that Black folks in America were discovering about the lives of Black folks in Scotland, and these Black folks in Scotland were just elated. They were just elated that Black folks in America were learning about them, and they were getting on TikTok, all these Scottish Black folks, and they were getting on TikTok going, we are so much more connected than you realize. Sure. These are the issues we're dealing with in Scotland. This is how we have a cookout in Scotland. This is how we do. And it was wonderful to watch because it was great to see all these Black folks say, it is so refreshing to see how we are all connected. Yeah. And that caused a ripple effect. So then there were Black folks from Italy who were saying, yeah, I'm Black Italian. They were saying, yeah, this is what we go through in Italy. And then, of course, there were Black folks from Britain and other places. But I found that to be refreshing. I wasn't surprised.
Sure.
I wasn't surprised one bit. I'm going, of course, there are Black people in Scotland. We just don't see them.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
But it was really great to see that everybody was having this education. And everyone was enjoying this discovery of the diaspora and just how widespread the diaspora is. And so I appreciate that perspective a lot. We actually have another break we got to take right now, and Cedric is on the line right now. Cedric, we're going to come to you right after the break. We are talking about, we're having a great conversation about connection in the Black community across the diaspora. I'm Eddie Francis and for Will Sutton. This is the Good Morning Show on WBOK, what New Orleans is talking about.
This is your news update for WBOK from WDSU. For all your news and weather, watch WDSU News, New Orleans' leader in live, local, late-breaking news. Today at noon and 4 p.m.
On this last day of 2025, we're looking at mostly sunny skies. A chilly start, but eventually warming up to 58 to 60 degrees. That's just slightly below average for this time of the year. Then right at midnight, temperatures should be into the 40s into the morning hours, so expecting temperatures to drop into the 30s for some portions of the North Shore. And then for tomorrow's highs, expecting 67 to 69, so a substantial warm-up is in store. From the WDSU First Warning Weather Center, I'm Raven Reshad.
New Orleans, are you ready for a voice that says what you're thinking? Who that, you might ask? Arrington Gavin. That's right, I'm your guy, host of the Arrington Gavin Show, giving you so much filled with bold opinions, real conversations, and zero sugarcoating. We're going to be diving into the issues that matter, politics, pop culture, and all the above, unfiltered and unafraid. Catch the Arrington Gavin Show weeknights from 7 p.m. to 8 p.m., Monday through Fridays, right here on WBOK, what New Orleans is talking about.
You've got responsibilities, but that doesn't mean your dreams are on hold. At Southern University at New Orleans, our evening and weekend college is designed with your life in mind. Finish your degree, start a new one, on your time, your degree, your schedule, no excuses, just opportunity. Visit suno.edu and make your next move today.
Meet Leanna, a part-time chef and full-time mom. In the past, Leanna didn't have health insurance because she didn't think she could afford it. What she didn't realize is she qualified for Medicaid. She loves the coverage and peace of mind that comes with high-quality care. The kind of care you get with Healthy Blue. This is Medicaid, and it's for more people than you think. Maybe even you. To see if you qualify, go to myhealthybluela.com.
Ever notice that everyone always wants more of a good thing? More rewards, more savings, more special offers? Well, when you become a new member of the Fuel Rewards program at Shell, that's exactly what you get, more. Join today to save 10 cents per gallon on your first fill, 20 cents on the second, and 30 cents on the third. Then enjoy everyday savings afterwards. Want more? Then head to Shell where members get more. Offer valid from 4/21/25 through 10/31/25 at participating Shell locations. Offer must be redeemed within 60 days of registration. Limit 20 gallons. Restrictions apply. Visit fuelrewards.com/join25 for more information.
Hi, this is DJ Wick, production manager and the host of the Throwback Throwdown in the Love Zone, wishing you and yours a very happy holiday season.
Good morning, wake up. The Good Morning Show. Good morning. On WBOK.
Welcome back to the Good Morning Show. Eddie Francis in for Will Sutton. Dr. Andrea Boyles is joining us this morning. And if you want to jump in on the conversation, the phone number is 502-582. 504. 502 is a whole nother place. 504-582-9422. 504-582-9422. Also, you can join the conversation as usual on Facebook family. They're not quite up yet. They all, in the words of that Afro-American poet, Biggie Smalls, wipe the coal out your eyes. So they got to do that. And then
lyricist Biggie Smalls.
And then we have YouTube. So we're streaming live on YouTube. We're streaming live on Facebook. You can join the conversation in either place. Or, of course, you can do it the old-fashioned way. You could call the phone number, 504-582-9422. Cedric is on the line this morning. Good morning, Cedric. How you doing?
Hey, good morning.
Good morning.
I missed the lady's name, Dr. Angela?
Andrea Boyles.
Mm-hmm. Dr. Angela. And Eddie Francis. The main reason I called, when I turned my radio on and I'm listening, I thought you were Norman Robinson. Come on now, listen. And it's fresh in my, and I've heard you on the radio before.
Yeah.
And it was fresh in my mind because I was at an event and he was the speaker. So, yeah, go on now. Y'all do the correct diction and pronunciating all that good stuff.
I'm not Norman Robinson, but I could probably.
I know you're not, brother.
I could probably imitate Norman Robinson. They call me Stormin' Norman.
Eddie, listen. You and I have met before.
Okay.
At your in-laws' dry cleaning store.
Oh goodness! That was ages
ago.
Look,
let me ask you, how old is your son now?
He's 22.
Oh man, you're making me old.
He is 20. He is a college student now.
Yeah, man, because you used to come pick him up from his mother at the laundromat.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So
that is cool, man. Well, I appreciate it. Yeah, no, I'm not Norman. So I'll tell you what's funny.
No, but I think that's a part of a New Orleans, and it may be incidental because sometimes you listen to Sabrina Wilson. Sometimes you still think you listen to Sally Ann Robinson. Sometimes when Sally Ann and Angela Hill do that commercial together, they almost sound alike.
Yeah.
So it must be that New Orleans flavor, man. You know.
You could call it that. And I appreciate you, Cedric. Thanks for calling,
but
man.
Look,
good talk.
What you got? One of the topics that you all was speaking on, I've never practiced Kwanzaa before.
Okay.
So I started reading about it. And when I found out, me and my daughter, because I went to ask her, oh, Dad, I know about this. I learned this in elementary school. I said, all right. Some of the things that I already do as an everyday practice are some of those same principles.
Okay.
And what I get from it all is to keep much of that stuff going every day of your life. And I'm going to start documenting the things that I do since I'm an elder now and documenting them. Because one thing about people with African descent, if you got any drop or whatever, if they drop you anywhere in the world, you're going to be, you're talking about the people in Scotland. And that was part of the thing with TikTok and all that. A lot of information you don't want to get out. You got black folks everywhere. There's a certain part of Cuba, a certain part of Mexico where you have African people, African descendant people there. So anywhere in the world we go, we are there. Anywhere.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm not so sure the TikTok algorithm appreciated that connection. I'm not sure at all. And listen, man. I mean, the purpose of Kwanzaa. I love the way Vera from the Community Book Center put this. She said Kwanzaa is not Black Christmas. I love the fact that she said that because it is meant to be a season of reflection. It is meant to be what we do, and it is meant to be stuff that we practice in our everyday lives. And so, for you to find affirmation in the Kwanzaa principles that's what it's all about. That's what we're supposed to be doing. So, hey, man, keep doing it. Keep doing what you're doing.
Thank y'all, man. Great conversation. Love y'all.
Thank you, man. Love you back, brother. Appreciate you for giving us a call. And that's a refreshing comment. To say, I already do these things, and good. Yes. That's great. That's what we're supposed to be doing.
And the fact also that he talked about, tapping into it, not knowing what it was, which I think is very interesting because that goes a back
to your point
of people who don't know what it is and because they don't know what it is are unable to necessarily make the connections. These are principles that many of us, I'm sure, in our community are already doing, already practicing. Mm-hmm. And so we think it's a separate or a different thing. Kwanzaa is a cultural holiday. Mm-hmm. I think that's important to note too.
Yeah.
Because people also kind of shy away from it, thinking like it's a religious thing.
No,
it's cultural.
Yeah, it is cultural.
And so it's not like you are having to sideline your spirituality or your religious beliefs or things like that. But that is an actual thought in our community. Like somehow you are now stepping outside of your religion or your spirituality, whatever that might be, to then therefore participate in Kwanzaa. No, it's cultural, and it does not mean you compromise or somehow have to substitute one for the other. In fact, it probably would be that many would learn what Kwanzaa is and realize it actually affirms their spiritual beliefs or their religious practices and otherwise. So I thought that comment kind of, in different ways spoke to it. Yeah. And certainly the connectedness in which we are engaging in these things anyway.
I appreciate you bringing up the point that it is not a faith-based holiday is not a holiday, and
Yes.
it is a season of reflection.
That's it.
You could be whatever faith walk you
I
are.
think
You
I
could be
said cultural
Christian.
holiday, but yes, season of reflection, a cultural season of reflection.
I mean, and when I say it's
and
not a holiday, let me clarify that, because what I mean is it's not a holiday in the traditional American sense that we have these one-off days that we do really cute things on.
Sure.
You can't. I mean, yeah.
I say a holiday
It
because
is a holiday.
we have
It is.
designated dates.
Yeah.
That we
that is
actually go through. Each of the days we're actually paying homage and centering, day by day, the principles of Kwanzaa. So it's holiday in that sense. However, I think the point that you're making is that it can be both. I think we're saying that it's both. Even with the caller, I think the point is that, sure, it's like we are recognizing the principles per day during this season, this winter season. However, it doesn't begin and end there, right? The idea is well beyond these designated days. The idea is that we carry the principles, right? And practice these things year round. And so in that sense, it is certainly like there's no end. It's infinite.
Yeah.
It's an embodiment, of these beliefs and, our character. And what does that mean? Which also connects to your question about what do we want to take into the next year.
Oh, thank you for the segue. You're the woman. All right. So, yes. So when we talk about, and I'm sorry I murdered your name. It's Andrea.
Andrea.
Yes. I should know better. I have a cousin named Andrea. She
People
goes by.
pronounce it differently. Different persons.
So I definitely like to honor the way people pronounce their names.
I appreciate that.
But when it comes to 2025, going into 2026, let's forget about this whole thing about last year was so awful. I'm dumping it and I'm stepping into my new self. What can we take in from 2025? And individually, what can we take from 2025 into 2026? So I'm not trying to give you something. I'm asking what you have in your life that you would like to take from 2025 into 2026. So, Dr. Boyles, what would you like to take into 2026?
I have a list of things, and that's on top of the fact that I understand, and I'm one of those persons who can say, I've had some things that I would have rather not have dealt with in 25. There's a wealth of things, a running list of things that have rubbed me in every way imaginable negatively. So I'm with the people. When you say, I don't want to take this, I agree on some things. However, one of many things also that I am so grateful about, and I like to take into 26 is my love of community. Is not necessarily, I think it's about reframing how we thought about some things, not discounting them or dismissing them, but just maybe reframing. Because while I hated a lot of things that happened in 25, I also loved a lot of things about my 2025. And I loved a lot of things about me in 2025, because my hope is to improve as a person or to build upon my existing self every year. Every day is a day to learn something new, which then means when you learn better, you do better. And so I like to apply that. Before I know that I talk about community a lot and I study human behavior, but I'm also a studier of my own behavior. I track me too. And I think that's the right thing to do. And so in beginning with me and your talk and conversation about self-reflecting and all those kinds of things, I'm always self-reflecting. I think it's an opportunity to take the growth over the year that I've had and to continue to build upon that, right? To continue to discover and reflect. And part of that reflection and an extension of that reflection, let me say it that way, because we're talking about connectedness too. And connection to that is that as I grow and as I learn to love or increase love and, thought about me as an individual, likewise, I'm able to do the same by extension with my community. And so I will continue to build on that, show up in ways that, make sense for building community. How can I be a blessing to people? And particularly the people that I'm surrounded by, the people that I work with, the people who are nearest and dearest to me. And more often than not, that is oftentimes in my community, the Black community. That's where I spend a lot of time, because we are disproportionately facing or at least grinding uphill on so many different things. And so it's always for me about how to take what I did last year and to build upon that, to continue to show up in a different way, but also in an increased way.
One of the passions that I have, whether it is the work that I do as a communication strategist, whether it's the work that I do as a professional speaker, whether it's what I do, here on air, whether I'm doing radio or whether my podcasts, one of the passions that I have is for helping people understand what it means to instill a sense of personal leadership,
yes,
into themselves. And when I talk about personal leadership, what I mean is not personal growth and development for the sake of yourself, but for the sake of yourself and the people around you.
Absolutely.
And one of the things in studying leadership, because I am a student of leadership, and one of the things that I've noted, or noticed, I should say, in watching the behavior of leaders, but then also actually reading case studies and then and taking a look at it, is if you have someone who is in a leadership position and they are in a bad spot personally, it is very difficult for them to do their job as a leader. They can't guide other people effectively. That's right. There's just no way. And that struggle that they have personally, it could be something that's going on with them that is affecting just them, or it could be a struggle that they have professionally that is being affected. So what you're saying resonates very deeply with me, because one of the things I would like for us to do in the Black community is reframe what accountability looks like.
Yeah.
With self-accountability. I mentioned this yesterday, that there's a guy by the name of Valentine Jr. who I watched, that he did this keynote, and he said that accountability is something that you do for people. And 9 times out of 10, something I said yesterday, and I'll bring this up again because I think we as Black folks need to hear this over and over again. We have this tendency to frame accountability as something that's punitive. We tend to look at each other and say, you know what, I'm going to hold you accountable. And then we start wagging our fingers in people's faces, and we start saying, you know what, because I have to punish you so you can do better.
Sure.
But what if we were to reframe accountability as, I want to bring this up to you. I'm not going to call you out. I'm going to call you in.
That's exactly
right?
what I was thinking.
Yeah. I'm not going to call you out. I'm going to call you in.
Yeah.
And say, you know what? I'm saying this to you because I love you. Mm-hmm. And I'm saying this to you because I see the best of you.
Sure.
And this is what you do when you are at your best. And this is how you make me feel when you're at your best.
Yes.
And this is how you make other people feel when you're at your best. So let's talk about how to get to your best.
Right.
I think having that forward-leaning type of conversation with one another is something that I would like to see much more of.
Sure.
I've worked at 4 HBCUs, and one trend that I would like to see stop at our HBCUs is this trend of presidents who come in and feel like they have to set everybody straight without even understanding who is even on campus. Everybody wants to come in and correct everybody. And it's like, well, what do you have to correct? Nah, we need to be more efficient. That's fine. I agree with you. But do you have to correct people like they're children? These are not children. These are adults.
Yeah.
So what would happen if your way of walking in, and it's not just HBCUs, honestly, I see this with a lot of Black folks who get in leadership positions. What if you were to walk in and to say, okay, let's look at what we're doing right, and let's build on it, and let's figure out how we can manage what we are not doing so well, And I know it may be cliche to people, but let's look at our areas of improvement. and let's talk about how we can walk toward improving, as opposed to saying, I need to get rid of you because you don't do this right. You know, I mean, because I've been in that spot before, and it is so demeaning when somebody walks in and says, you're doing this all wrong and you got to go.
Okay, I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
Is it possible that, and I'm just speaking generally, because I want to think about this, or at least I hear what you're saying about HBCUs, but maybe just generally, because when people get into leadership positions across the board, be it educational institutions or otherwise,
that's why I expanded
they start
that
to clean up,
definition.
so to speak, clean house is what you're talking about. Clean house, and that can mean different things for different people. Bring in their own cabinets, members, et cetera, right? Is it possible to do both?
Yes.
Can you do? Okay.
Because the thing is, so that's why my thing is, why don't you go in and take a look at what's right? When you give people an opportunity to be their best, then you really find out who you're dealing with.
Yeah.
I think you have less of a chance of finding out who you're dealing with when you walk in and say everybody's got to go, because you don't know who you're getting rid of 9 times out of 10. And I have seen this. I have seen it with my own eyes.
Yeah.
Where somebody say, "Well, so and so's got to go," and it's like, "Well, wait a minute. This person has institutional knowledge. Like, this person knows where all the bodies are buried. Are you sure you want to get rid of this person?" "No, I just don't like him."
Oh, gosh.
I heard you don't like her. I get you. Honestly, I don't like them too much either. However, their knowledge of how things run in this company is off the charts.
Impact.
It's impact. It is probably one of the ultimate pieces of follower power, right? Having that person who knows all the systems, having that person who understands the politics of the place, having these people who are very popular. And so when you give them an opportunity to go around and advocate for you as a leader, they can get a lot done. Instead of just getting rid of all these people because you, quote unquote, don't like them, or because you have your own people in mind who you want to bring in. And by the way, you start bringing in this whole new group of people, the whole machine starts all over again. So now all you're doing as a leader is you are starting this big old engine over again. And it's going to take you a year to 2 to 3 years to really get to where you want to go, because you started the whole thing over again unnecessarily, right? And so I think when you give people an opportunity to operate at their best and they don't live up to the challenge,
that's one thing.
In a very polite way, you coach them out.
Yes.
And you do, and now you have the leverage to say, "Listen, I gave you every opportunity."
Sure.
And I know 90 days isn't a long time to you, but I got a lot of work to do, and I need you. And we haven't been able to work together. So I'm sorry. I'm gonna have to make a different decision, right?
Yeah.
I think you at least give people that opportunity.
That's good. Yeah.
And I think, one of the reasons I enjoy being a communication strategist so much is I think you also clearly communicate this sort of thing to people, right? And so I think that what I would like to see us do in the Black community is I would like to see us communicate to one another how we want to see the best in one another, and where we have seen the best. And I know those are tough conversations. I mean, your sibling or your cousin, they get on your nerves.
I was going to say, sometimes, frustration kicks in, right?
Yeah.
And maybe I have said this to you 25 times already. And so I'm on 26.
I'm going to text it to you the 26th time.
Right. And, and this could be for anybody. It could be for a relative. It could certainly be for a community leader. It could be for, any. I have said this to you in 1,000 different ways, and it has yet to set in. Like, what is this? And so we have a saying, right? Folks are playing in our faces.
Yeah. Yep.
So at some point, that's how we feel. Like you doing the very thing I keep mentioning, or the very thing we keep talking about, or having a conversation or an issue with. You continue to do, and you doing it in my face, literally. Like, it's not even hid at this point. You've gotten emboldened. So, but that makes for a whole other.
It does.
But I do. I get your point. Yeah.
So is there anything that you would like to take from 2025 into 2026? The number is 504-582-9422. 504-582-9422. 9422. You can also join the conversation on Facebook, and you can also join the conversation on YouTube. We're streaming live in both places. We do have some YouTube comments, and I'm going to get to these comments in just a minute. In the meantime, we're going to be back in just a little bit. I am not Norman Robinson. I am Eddie Francis. Norman Robinson, he is disgusted, disillusioned.
Like, what is happening?
All right.
This stuff.
This is the Good Morning Show. Eddie Francis in for Wilson. Dr. Andrea Boyles is joining us this morning on WBOK. What New Orleans is talking about.
Historic New Orleans Collection presents a new exhibition open through June 7th, 2026. The Trail They Blazed. Built collaboratively with people who participated in the local civil rights movement, The Trail They Blazed presents stories of social and racial justice straight from the people who lived them. Listen to leaders tell their stories of resistance and persistence in their own voices, recorded by the Historic New Orleans Collection. Plan your visit to 520 Royal Street in the French Quarter and reserve your free tickets at hnoc.org today.
A careless driver can change your life in an instant. Do you know what to do or who to call? If you've been injured in a motor vehicle accident and do not have an attorney, call Auto Accident Help Desk for a free consultation. We can answer all of your questions and estimate the potential value of your case. Call Auto Accident Help Desk and connect with an expert personal injury attorney.
Call 800-269-4524. 800-269-4524.
Don't worry how to handle your medical bills, lost wages, and pain. We will get you the money you deserve.
They got me way more than the insurance company offered.
The consultation is free, and you do not pay any legal fees unless we win or settle your case. Make the smart call. If you've been injured in an auto accident, call Auto Accident Help Desk for a free legal consultation.
Call 800-269-4524. 800-269-4524. 800-269-4524.
What's going on, everybody? It's the Ball Don't Lie podcast. It's your boy, Phil.
Big Mon in the building. We're here to wish everybody a very, very special happy holidays.
And stay safe.
Good morning. Wake up. The Good Morning Show. Good morning. On WBOK.
Welcome back to the Good Morning Show. And good morning to all the folks, our Facebook community. They're finally up. Good morning, Paul Jensen. Good to see you as always. The Edge of Green Monday. She says, good morning. I see you, Soror, to Dr. Boyles here.
Good morning, Soror.
Yes. Alicia Plummer. Hey, Alicia. Always good to see you. Karen Marks, Jacqueline Wilmore. Hey, good morning to you. Melanie Renee, who, oh, man, she has a lot of comments. She has a lot to say this morning. One of her comments is, let me see. When you have that everybody got to you, wait, hold on. When you have that everybody got to go. Oh, yeah, here we go. Oh, when you have that everybody got to go, you are going to keep getting inefficiency. That is a good point. Now, don't get me started, Melanie, because I am I geek out so much of organizational culture. I can't unsee it. No matter where I go. So I used to be a recruiter. I used to be a job recruiter. And so one of the things that I really got into was organizational culture, because when I did executive recruiting, that was a big concern for the executives. And so that was always something I would take note of. And then from there, I just went nuts. I started reading about it, and oh goodness,
there's no sense of continuity.
Yeah, there's no sense of continuity. No, not at all. And so, so one of the funny parts of the conversation when I met Dr. Boyles this morning, I saw that she is a woman of Delta Sigma Theta, and you were initiated at?
I was initiated at Alpha Theta Chapter. That's Lincoln University of Missouri.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then I had this thought, because I've actually been to Lincoln's campus a couple of times, and I'm going, wait a minute, Lincoln, I want to say you're Tigers. And then it made me think about how many HBCUs have Tigers for mascots. If I were to tell you that I'm a TSU Tiger, you wouldn't know which one I'm talking about. You have no idea. You know why? Because there are two TSU Tigers.
Yeah.
Now, there is the TSU Tigers, Go Big Blue, land of the golden sunshine, home of the aristocratic bands.
Goodness. We getting a rundown.
Tennessee State. There's that. I am a proud product of the College of Public Service. Now,
oh my goodness.
So there's Tennessee State. They're the real Tigers. And then there's Austin Taylor's TSU Tigers.
And then there's
Texas
Lincoln
Southern.
University of Missouri Blue Tigers.
You have the Blue Tigers.
We're the Blue Tigers.
You're the Blue Tigers.
Yes.
And then you have, you have Tuskegee, who are the Golden Tigers. And then you have Grambling State Tigers, Jackson State Tigers, Edward Waters University Tigers.
There are a lot of tigers.
Lots of tigers.
I don't think I realized that until you said it.
No, we love big cats in HBCU land. So they're lions. There's the Langston Lions, the Lincoln University of Pennsylvania Lions, and then who else in Lions? Oh wait, Tuskegee, are they Golden Tigers or Golden Lions? I want to say they are. Hold on, no, I can't.
Our beloved
because what's going to happen is that all my friends from Tuskegee are going to get on my case, and they're the Golden Tigers. They are the Golden Tigers.
The Golden Tigers.
And then we have Panthers. We have the Clark Atlanta Panthers.
Okay.
We have the Prairie View Panthers.
Steel Cat family.
Let me see. Oh, you have the Paul Quinn Tigers. Lots of Wildcats too. Bethune-Cookman Wildcats.
Sure.
I want to say Wiley. I want to say they're Wildcats. And then you have the ones who are just outliers. Howard, Bison, Hampton, Pirates. And then there's one that's my favorite. Oh, then there's Elizabeth City. They're the Vikings. And then I want to say, let me see. Oh, Morehouse, Maroon Tigers.
Wow.
And a lot of people don't know this. So, people look at Southern and they're like, oh, well, they're the only ones with Jaguars, but that's not true. Spelman, they're actually Jaguars. And so so we love big cats in HBCUs.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, so the outlier also now, Suno would be an outlier because they're the Knights, which Suno actually used to be the Black Knights. And so there's this really cool picture from one of Suno's yearbooks that I saw, where there was this brother. He was in African attire, African dress, and it was a warrior. He was dressed like a warrior, and they had him on a horse with a spear, and he was the Black Knight.
Okay.
I was like, oh, that's dope. Southern system, Southern University system. I really think I'm about to start something. Southern University system.
Oh my goodness.
I think you need to be cool and let Suno go back to being the Black Knights.
You know what? Are you stirring the pot as we're going into the new year with good things? Oh my goodness. Y'all don't get into this. We want to go into the new year on a good note. Don't do it.
Only because I know.
Resist.
Only because I know.
Speaking of resistance, resist the urge.
I'm gonna get all those pre-1992, 95 Suno Knights. I'm gonna get them all started.
And we get worked up about our HBCUs.
We get very worked up. Very, very, very worked up. I'll tell you something was really funny. So one day. I was looking for a shirt to wear, so I'm going around the house and I'm like, let me just throw on a shirt. So I threw on one of my wife's Hampton t-shirts and I just ran outside to go get mail and blah, blah. I walked in and she's looking at me, just staring dead at me. She's like, what you doing with my shirt on? I was like, they're not letters, okay? I didn't put on one of your Zeta shirts, okay? I put on a Hampton shirt. This is not the same thing. So then
can't just do that.
So then one day I got on her case because she had on a Hampton shirt and a Hampton sweatshirt, it's Hampton sweatpants. I said, well, look at you double lettering. Why are you double lettering?
She is representing.
Representing hard.
Yes, that's how it goes.
Oh, and see, so I got Melanie Renee started. She said,
"Oh my goodness!"
She said, "I'm a former Black Knight. Please don't."
See, I'm trying to help you all. Y'all. We want to go into the new year on a good note.
We will go into.
Listen,
we will.
Everybody's gonna be fired up. Like, wait a minute. And then, we didn't even mention all the HBCUs, right? And so I'm certain that there's somebody that's like, but wait a minute, you didn't even say my school.
Don't even get me to the database.
So let me drop another one then. Let me drop another one for some folks. Alabama A&M.
Hornets.
All right.
Oh, no. That's Alabama State.
I'm about to get in trouble.
That's Alabama.
No, that's
Bulldogs.
Alabama.
We got a few Bulldogs, too. All right, so we're going to come back in just a little bit.
I was getting ready to go with that. Good save.
It's the Good Morning Show on WBOK. What New Orleans is talking about.
WBOK New Orleans. Home of the Good Morning Show, 7 to 9 a.m. weekdays.
I'm Morgan Wood with BIN News Now. Hundreds of Louisiana National Guard troops are arriving in New Orleans despite city council data showing the number of reported crimes is down 16% from last year. Guard members will assist police with security in the French Quarter for New Year's Eve, at the Sugar Bowl, and during Mardi Gras. A Florida branch of the NAACP is demanding Clay County School Board member Robert Alvaro to step down over comments he made about the African American community in a Facebook Live video. The civil rights group called the remarks racist, harmful, and wholly incompatible with the responsibility of serving a diverse public school system. And Snoop Dogg was joined by the K-pop Demon Hunters for his holiday halftime show on Netflix as the Detroit Lions took on the Minnesota Vikings in Minneapolis on Christmas. The Vikings ended up beating the Lions 23-10. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Good morning, wake up. The Good Morning Show. Good morning. On WBOK.
And welcome back to the Good Morning Show. Eddie Francis in for Will Sutton. Dr. Andrea Boyles is with us this morning.
Yes.
And I almost got her in trouble just now.
Almost. Ooh.
I called out the wrong mascot for Alabama A&M. I've been on the hill.
Almost.
I've been on the hill. I've been to visit the Bulldogs, but Bama State would be the Hornets. And I was just telling her during the break, you cannot say Alabama State. You got to say Big Bad Bama State.
Oh, my goodness.
Big Bad Bama State. That's what you got to say. Shouts out to my boy, the head coach of Alabama State, Eddie Robinson Jr. He and I went to elementary school together. We went to the St. Peter Claver. We're in the same class. The pride of Brother Martin and the pride of Alabama State. He actually played football for Alabama State with another friend of mine, Brantley Williams, one of my classmates from high school. Brantley was the quarterback, and Eddie was the linebacker.
Okay.
And so I have the pleasure of seeing Eddie's dad, Mr. Robinson. I have the pleasure of seeing him from time to time, who is a Soononite.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, okay. And then we actually have, we got our own unique mascots here in New Orleans. So we got the Dillard Blue Devils.
Uh-huh.
Blue spelled BLEU.
Yeah.
And we have the Xavier University Gold Rush.
Yeah.
And so those are cool. Those are cool mascots.
Yes.
Shouts out to
unique.
Shouts out to all my friends who went to FAMU.
Rattlers. Oh yeah, yes.
Rattlers.
Likewise.
Strike.
Yes.
Strike and strike again.
Yes.
So there we go.
Yep. I am not, while I'm an LU alum, the real LU, we have to go back and forth, between Missouri and Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
But while I'm an alum there, I am not one of AAMU, Alabama A&M. I am a Alabama A&M parent.
Oh, very cool.
So
that is very
that's
cool.
why I said, let me not get that wrong.
Yeah.
So, but anyway.
Yeah, well, I was having a really funny conversation. I was having a funny conversation with somebody one day because I actually, I'm one of the few, the proud, who grew up actually a Tulane football fan.
Okay.
I hung with Tulane through the 0 and whatever seasons, and the 1 and whatever seasons, and that whole deal. So I'm one of them.
So you are especially loving this one.
I've been loving the past few seasons.
Yeah.
And so one day, but it hit me like a ton of bricks. I'm like, whoa. Okay, so Tulane, they're the Green Wave. What do you call one person who graduated from Tulane? And I just found a greenie. So they're a greenie. I had no idea that you were greenies, and so. I had to get that straight. I had, because I was just like, wait, is one person a wave or is one person a droplet? What is this one person who's a member of the Green Wave? What are they called? And so that's I had to figure that out. If you want to jump into the conversation this morning, one of the things that we asked was, what do you want to take from 2025 into 2026? And not to invalidate the bad things that happened to us in 2025. Sure. I wasn't very pleased with 2025.
Goodness.
It was a rough year, and especially for people, and we do have to acknowledge this. It was a rough year for people, especially who lost jobs.
Absolutely.
The job loss in 2025 was just massive.
Yes, 300,000 plus Black women particularly.
And extraordinarily unnecessary job loss. Ooh. So we don't want to invalidate that it has been an extremely difficult year for a lot of people, especially Black women.
Yeah.
And especially when it comes to job loss. But as I started off saying this morning, if you woke up today, you got another chance.
That's it.
God willing, you wake up tomorrow to see 2026, you will have yet another chance, another year to do something even better than you did before. So what can you take from 2025 into 2026? For me, as I mentioned before, it's learning.
Sure.
And the leaders who I admire the most are the ones who love to learn.
Yeah.
I think one of the best, my favorite leadership quote, and I really wish I knew who to attribute this to, but Halima, my wife, was actually during a meeting, and it was a collection of women who were department chairs, and so it was this leadership meeting that she took part in, and she said that one of the women said, "Don't be so preoccupied with hitting the ground running as a leader. Hit the ground listening."
Yes, that's it.
And
that's important.
That resonated deeply with me because I have worked with leaders who refuse to listen. And it is the most frustrating thing. And one of the things that I've been challenging myself on is to learn more, because I always say that leaders are learners and learners are leaders.
Sure.
And I just want to learn more. I just want to figure out, I just want to figure more things out. I want to figure out more things about life. What can I leave with my 22-year-old son?
Yes.
What gift can I leave with him? And what can I leave with the people around me? What kinds of gifts can I leave with them?
Now we're talking legacy.
Yeah. I mean, and that is the big part of it.
And that
right?
matters. Yes.
That is the big part of it. I am thinking so much more about legacy these days.
Absolutely. Me too.
And what that
life
looks
is short.
like. It is.
Life is short.
It is.
But
it really hits you with the kids.
Yeah. Absolutely. And when I say life is short, I mean, time is flying.
Yeah.
It is my hope that we all have longevity.
Mm-hmm.
But time is literally flying. It's almost like, I feel like the year has gone by. Well, this year felt especially long. Let me be clear about that. But I think people get the gist of what I'm trying to say. And so with that, it is so important that we make great use of our time, and if we wanted to think about maybe some of the things that had us, disgruntled or feeling some type of way in 2025, that should be leverage for why it's so important and it matters that we make great use of our time. Be a great use of our time learning, be a great use of our time strategizing, our own personal lives, strategizing our roles in our communities, we can run a gamut on it, right? The point is that it is important to use that time to be intentional. Intentionality matters going into this year or any year for that matter. And what I love about your one of the things you said is learning. What I love about learning, your ideas of learning, taking that into the new year, is that on one hand it's simple, but on the other hand, not so much. When I say simple, I mean it's simple to the degree it's not flashy, it's not fancy. I think sometimes we get lost in that. We talked about all these conversations that people have on social media and otherwise about like this year I'm going to ... And I think sometimes it gets so intense. And, sometimes I'm wondering, are people trying to one up each other? Like, what's happening? I'm going to do A, B, C, D, E, F, G. And when the truth of the matter is, many of those things don't even happen.
Yeah.
It's such a stretch. And it's so over the top. And maybe it's wishful thinking, because I don't want to say, but I'm saying that sometimes I think we set unrealistic goals, maybe. It's a difference in saying I'm really earnestly working towards something versus saying I'm just going to do all these many things. Pick one thing, maybe just a couple things, or maybe just something like learning. Like learning is so valid. It's so important, but yet it's so simple. It's not a thing of I'm trying to just kind of, get clicks or, it's not clickbait like, right? Like it's not that, but it matters. Those are goals that we can actually accomplish.
They are.
We should be, because why? We should be learning every day.
We really should be.
We should be learning. There should be something new that we have learned every day. A new way of thinking about something, a new way of approaching something, a new way of feeling about something, a new way of something, right? So that's a realistic thing. That is a goal that is accomplished, that we can easily accomplish.
And it doesn't have to cost you a penny.
It doesn't have to cost you a penny. You don't have to feel like you failed.
No.
Because you didn't reach it.
Right.
You can actually reach that goal.
You can reach it.
And it pushes you.
It does.
It doesn't leave you stagnant. So you don't feel like, well, I have not, so I checked that box and now that's over with. No. It's an actual goal that can carry from year to year to year.
Absolutely. I'm going to read one comment and we got to get to the commercial break. But Maddie Womble, good morning to you on Facebook. Something that she wrote that relates to something I said earlier. She said the city of New Orleans administration needs counseling on getting rid of the previous administration's work and replacing with their ideas and staff. Staff is being laid off and have to reapply for their jobs. New Orleans continues being set back, not moving forward related to this practice. Maddie, that's an important point, and I want to come back to it when we come back from the break. It's the Good Morning Show on WBOK, what New Orleans is talking about.
This is your news update for WBOK from WDSU. For all your news and weather, watch WDSU News, New Orleans' leader in live, local, late-breaking news. Today at noon and 4 p.m.
Good morning and happy New Year's Eve. I'm Morgan Lentis with WDSU News, and here's a look at today's headlines. The New Orleans Police Department is investigating a shooting in Algiers. We're told it happened around 12:15 this morning on Plymouth Place near Somerset Drive. Police say a man was shot and taken to a local hospital. There's no word on his condition or if a suspect has been identified. Then, as we prepare to mark the one-year anniversary of the New Year's Day terror attack that killed 14 people, Governor Jeff Landry has announced a 4-day mourning period. It is set to begin at 3:15 tomorrow morning with flags at half-staff. Landry is also asking all churches to ring 14 bells at 3:15 p.m. Sunday to remember the 14 people who died. Lastly, people across Louisiana are encouraged to wear green and yellow to represent harmony and happiness. That's also on Sunday. Then Georgia and Ole Miss will face off in the Sugar Bowl tomorrow night, but the festivities kick off today leading up to the big game. That includes a parade starting at 2 p.m. today at Elysian Fields in Decatur, and then the Sugar Bowl Fest is happening from 3 to 6 p.m. That's at the Audubon Aquarium also today. Lastly, a quick reminder that the city will ring in the new year with fireworks in the annual Fleur-de-Lis drop at midnight. The drop is happening in Jackson Square, and you can watch the fireworks at nearby Woldenberg Park. And that is a look at today's headlines. I'm Morgan Lentis with WDSU News. Have a happy new year.
Happy holidays, everybody. This is Graylin Brown Banks of the world's largest front porch, wishing each and every one of you a very joyous holiday season. Stay safe and practice random acts of kindness.
Good morning. Wake up. The Good Morning Show. Good morning. On WBOK.
Welcome back to the Good Morning Show. Eddie Francis in for Will Sutton. Dr. Andrea Boyles has joined us this morning. Doc, pleasure to have you. It has been really cool hearing your commentary this morning. It really has.
I've enjoyed exchanging with you, and as always, the community at large.
Yes. And of course, I've been here 3 days. I have not once mentioned Nyron's name. Nyron behind the glass doing this thing.
Hey, Nyron.
Good morning, brother. And so I want to come back to this comment that Maddie Womble posted on Facebook where she wrote, the City of New Orleans administration needs counseling on getting rid of the previous administration's work and replacing their ideas and staff. Staff is being laid off and they have to reapply for their jobs. New Orleans continues to be set back and not moving forward related to this practice. So to me, I want to look at this as a both and response. I think that there is the side of this that makes sense is that when you have a leader who will come in, and I mentioned this a while ago, when you have a leader who comes into an organization and they say, okay, listen, this is my strategic direction. And in order to do this, these are the people I need to do it.
Sure.
That makes sense. I get that.
Yeah.
But my beef, and I think this is what brought this comment up, is when the new leader comes in and doesn't even consider what the previous staff can do. And when you discount what that previous staff can do, you have no idea about the value of the human resource that you are getting rid of.
Sure.
Right? And when we talk about resources for organizations, the one resource we never think about as holding value is the human resource.
Sure.
We say it all the time. The most valuable resource is the human resource, and then people who say it forget it as quickly as they, they forget as quickly as they say it. And the problem here is that, it's like I said earlier, when you replace a whole staff and, and I know there's a lot of frustration with people reapplying for their jobs. As a recruiter, I get the practice. It is really not the most convenient practice for anybody. But the thing is that when you talk about replacing a staff wholesale, the problem with that and the problem getting rid of programs is that does impact the citizens, because what you do is you slow down the operations of City Hall, and because everybody's having to relearn everything or restart everything or reapply for grants, or they have to go back and they have to go into databases and they have to relearn all this other stuff, blah, blah, blah. I mean, they got to just redo everything. And then with those operations being slowed down, it does impact the citizens. And I'm not saying that this is something that people should not do.
Right.
But I am saying that when people are frustrated by that practice, they're frustrated for a reason.
So let me ask you a question. I'll do it this way. Given that we have a listener who's honed in on that, right, is an issue, a problem. You understand and see the problem with that. I can look at that as a person that, is a sociologist who thinks about structuring and the ways in which we are organized and all those kinds of things across institutions, organizations, et cetera, and see that is troubling. What is it? Why are the people doing it themselves? If we can see that, and I'm saying that, also understanding that not everybody sees things the same way, but I'm just saying generally, if we understand that structurally is impactful negatively to approach things that way, why are people doing it?
Why do leaders do it?
Why do we have this happening? Be that here in New Orleans or otherwise. Why do people do it? Is it probable? Do we suspect that they know or don't know this? What we're talking about? What's the reason?
Oh boy, do I have opinions about this?
And it's a rhetorical question, but not yes and no. But
I'm of the opinion that leadership development has to change. We have to change the way we do it. The reason is we have, and there's actually research that bears this out, we have a hard time putting leadership into its proper context. And so a lot of times what people do is they look at leadership as one thing. I got to go in and take control.
Okay.
Maybe, or maybe not. Maybe it's not about taking control. Maybe it's about letting what the people who report to you guide you on your decisions. That's why I think listening is so important. And so when people do this, though, the unfortunate thing is that when a lot of leaders make these decisions, they're thinking about themselves. They're thinking about the legacy they want to leave for themselves individually. This is across the board in so many sectors. It is such a problem. And I actually read a paper, an article that mentioned that the reason leadership development has to change is there's an argument being made that narcissism has become such an epidemic that we are trained to think of ourselves first. And we think the most effective leaders, a lot of times, are the ones who think of themselves first because they raise their hands really hard and loud and say, I'm the best. And you're like, okay, great. You said that, but can you prove it? In the meantime, there might be this really quiet person who is much more community-minded, who is saying, well, here's your solution. I'm not going to yell at you to tell you what the solution is, but I'm telling you right now. And our brains are trained to look at that person who is maybe not as an effective a leader because they're not as extroverted. And so this happened this happened in the governor's race.
I was going to say
Jeff Landry made a lot of noise. But you have Sean, my man Sean, with his PhD in public administration, who has worked through government and who is, quote unquote, a boring person. This is what people said. I'm not voting for him because he's boring. Yeah, but does he know what he's doing? I guess so. But I don't like him because he's boring. He isn't really saying anything. Okay, but does he know? Are you confident that this person knows what he's doing? I guess so, but he's just boring. So to people, leadership, people tapped out of that election, in my opinion, because they wanted to hear more noise because they thought that a leader should make noise.
So that's why I asked that question, because I wanted us to kind of unpack, like, what is that about, right? Because I think by and large, like, leadership in and of itself, or I think there's some, at minimum, I think people generally know, like, you can't just do just a straight sweep.
No.
And like, that might not.
I think that is ill-advised.
And so, but also to go beyond that, you talked about research on it. And so what I would say is that this is kind of the climate we're in, right? It's not kind of, it just is.
No, this is the climate.
We're in this climate where there is a wealth of information and understanding in all sorts of places about how to move and groove and like what works versus what doesn't in the best interest of the people. And it is not really being applied.
No.
It's literally not what, it doesn't matter. Again, I'm talking about connected. Remember, we started off having a conversation about the impact. It's important to make these connections and have impact because we're in a climate where we have we've always had a wealth of information and understanding about a number of things, be it at variations or different degrees, but we have some minimally. And yet we will walk over evidence-based information on crime, on navigating, just on a number of things, crime, educational systems, all sorts of things that work to make the community stronger in different ways, to make that work to make the community or our communities more vibrant in different ways, people more, prosperous. And still, again, no matter the issue, if we're thinking about our unhoused brothers and sisters, we know what fuels that.
Yeah.
We know why that is, why we have that problem. And yet, if we're thinking about addictions, if we're thinking, no matter the issue, we understand what's at the root. And yet we consistently, right, have a society where folks walk over the evidence.
Yeah. Every single time. Let's get to James on the line right now. James, we got a couple of minutes, but let's get you in. What you got this morning?
Yeah, happy holidays, everyone.
Happy holidays.
I just wanted to piggyback off what you were saying. You started off by saying we want to come in as leaders and change everything. I wholeheartedly agree. I hate the fact that this city has more often than not taken what is worked, and because there's an element of what is working that doesn't work, throw the baby out with the bathwater.
Mm-hmm.
Or we come in, and our leaders come into leadership, and the first thing they do is, like, everybody got to go, like as y'all was saying in the beginning, because, hey, new regime, new rules, new my way or the highway. And it's been my experience that most of the leaders that I work for, they happen to be good leaders because they allowed the people to shine. They allowed us to think outside the box and get creative on our jobs, doing our, no particular instance is the same on any job. You have to kind of like have that or be able to have that flexibility within the reasons, within rules, standard operating procedures and whatnot, or guidelines and whatnot. But you guys are hitting on all 10 cylinders today, because we often do that in this city. It's like one bad thing and a good idea trash the whole thing.
Yeah.
Well, if Alabama's doing it, why we can't steal their playbook and make it fit us?
James, don't even get me started on people ignoring winning playbooks. Don't even get me started on that, because that's a whole nother issue.
You know what, bro? I hear you loud and clear. And on that note, I'm going to back out and listen.
All right. Thank you, James.
Thank you.
Appreciate you, man. And Happy New Year to you. Happy New Year to everybody who's been tuning in.
Absolutely.
In a couple of minutes, we do have our visit with New Orleans and Company coming up. So we're going to go ahead and bounce to this break really quickly. I'm Eddie Francis in for Will Sutton, and Dr. Andrea Boyles is joining me on the Good Morning Show on WBOK. What New Orleans is talking about.
This is your news update for WBOK from WDSU. For all your news and weather, watch WDSU News, New Orleans' leader in live, local, late-breaking news. Today at noon and 4 p.m.
On this last day of 2025, we're looking at mostly sunny skies. A chilly start, but eventually warming up to 58 to 60 degrees. That's just slightly below average for this time of the year. Then right at midnight, temperatures should be into the 40s into the morning hours, though, expecting temperatures to drop into the 30s for some portions of the North Shore. And then for tomorrow's highs, expecting 67 to 69, so a substantial warm-up is in store. From the WDSU First Warning Weather Center, I'm Raven Richard.
New Orleans, are you ready? A fresh voice in the city is here, bringing you the beats, the culture, and the stories that matter. From local music and food to real talk on what's happening in the streets, we've got you covered. Stay tapped in. Follow us on all platforms at WBOK 1230 for the latest updates and exclusive content. Your city, your culture, your news. Don't just hear about it, be about it. Follow us at WBOK 1230 now.
Profiles with Wendell Pierce has been brought to you by the National World War II Museum, located in the Warehouse District of New Orleans. The National World War II Museum tells the story of the American experience in the war that changed the world, why it was fought, how it was won, and what it means today. Visit them online at www.nationalww2museum.org for time tickets and safety information.
You've got responsibilities, but that doesn't mean your dreams are on hold. At Southern University at New Orleans, our evening and weekend college is designed with your life in mind. Finish your degree, start a new one, on your time, your degree, your schedule. No excuses, just opportunity. Visit suno.edu and make your next move today.
Meet Leanna, a part-time chef and full-time mom. In the past, Leanna didn't have health insurance because she didn't think she could afford it. What she didn't realize is she qualified for Medicaid. She loves the coverage and peace of mind that comes with high-quality care. The kind of care you get with Healthy Blue. This is Medicaid, and it's for more people than you think. Maybe even you. To see if you qualify, go to myhealthybluela.com.
Saints of God, it's time for us to tell you the truth. It's time for you to start your 21-day challenge. Don't take another day. Do it right now. Call 504-701-4711. That's the Whole Water Stove, Pastor David Impartan Sr., the host of Change Your Water, Change Your Mind. This is the water that's designed to change your body, the way you think, the way you act, and the way you look. Why don't you start your 21-day challenge today? For $35, you can start it right now. Call me so we can set up your appointment. 504-701-4711. That's 504-701-4711. Change your water, change your mind.
My name is Caleb Henry. And I'm Eli Henry. On behalf of the Henry family and Equity Media, we want to wish everyone a happy holiday.
Good morning, wake up. The Good Morning Show. Good morning. On WBOK.
And welcome back to the Good Morning Show. Eddie Francis in for Will Sutton. We're joined by Dr. Andrea Boyles. Good morning to the folks on Facebook. Man, Facebook is on fire this morning. Good morning to Melanie. Good morning to Alicia. Of course, D. Best. Good morning to you. Good morning to Joshua Edmond, you nutcase. Good morning to
oh my God,
Sean Gill from Down Under. Yes. Thank you so much, everybody, for hanging out. And thank you so much, as always, for being part of the WBOK community.
Yes.
Hey, you know what? Reach one, teach one. All right. Tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend about the shows on WBOK. Tell them about what we got going on this little radio station in New Orleans.
Yes.
And let them know that they can listen to us streaming on WBOK1230.com. They can catch our shows on Facebook. They can be part of the community. They can also be part of the community on YouTube, streaming there. If you're into Twitch, if you're a Twitcher, if you're twitchy, then you can catch us on Twitch as well. Good morning, Cliff Dugard. Thank you, man. I always appreciate you. But joining us, we have the folks from New Orleans Company come on and hang out with us every so often. And joining us this morning is Kelly Scholes from New Orleans and Company. Hey, good morning, Kelly. How are you?
Hey, Eddie. Hey, Dr. Boyles. Good morning. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you too. So listen, we've been talking about this this morning, that 2025, a lot of us had some rough stuff that happened. The city had, it had a so-so year. There was some great things that happened, but of course the year started with the tragedy. But we're going into 2026. From the perspective of New Orleans and Company, despite the challenges that we did have in 2025, and it did end on a pretty good note, what do you think are the moments that best capture the momentum that we gained in 2025 as a city?
Well, I think you captured it perfectly. I mean, we did start on a horrific, tragic note, and I was thinking about the days after January 1, and people often ask us at New Orleans and Company, what does this mean for tourism? Or how did you all react from a tourism standpoint? And we were like, hold on. First of all, we're reacting as human beings, and we're reacting as New Orleanians and just mourning what a horrific event this was. And then we shifted our focus to, tourism. And I'll never forget that in the days after the attack, we heard from people all over the world who were reaching out to us proactively to say, we love your city, we're thinking of you, we're so sorry to see what has happened here, but we are not going to let this one act of evil keep us away from a city that we love so much. We heard that over and over and over again from our visitors, from our customers, even from cities that we compete with for business. There was this unbelievable outpouring of love and support for our community, and we will never forget that. And I'm happy now to see the second line in the sky, which is the beautiful memorial at the first 300 blocks of Bourbon Street that we hope will become an annual tradition, so that it will not only become part of our holiday timeline, but also just serve as a way to always honor and remember the victims and what happened on that tragic day.
So we had some great events, though, that happened.
We did.
The Sugar Bowl was a great event. We had all of our festivals. We had Essence Fest, which was a really good Essence Fest. Bayou Classic wound up being a true classic. I mean, people absolutely loved it. And so with the events that we've had, the crowds that we brought in, the economic impact, what do those celebrations say about the city's ability to continue to host major moments?
Right. Well, as you said, we did have some really amazing moments in 2025. Essence Fest, Bayou Classic. We had the Super Bowl, of course, which was one of the most highly watched and strongest economic impact Super Bowls.
That little game. I forgot about that one.
And we brought back the Amtrak Mardi Gras train service for the first time in 20 years, which is something that is so popular now, connecting New Orleans to Mobile, Alabama, and all of the Mississippi Gulf Coast. They've actually had to bring in additional cars, because there's been so much demand. On the sports front, we also had the UFC 318, which was a big event in July that sold out the Smoothie King Arena. Our city received some Michelin honors for our restaurant community, which was something that we had not done before. Many people cannot believe that there were no Michelin star restaurants in New Orleans, and we were happy to see places like Dooky Chase and others to get that well-deserved, long overdue recognition from Michelin as a symbol of excellence for our restaurant community. And then we also became a UNESCO Creative City of Music, which is another sort of global designation that will help elevate our musicians who are already incredible, but to become part of this, elite title. We're only one of 10 U.S. cities to receive that UNESCO designation. So there's been a lot of good things that have really helped drive our economy, and also sort of put us, we hope, on a more prominent global scale and continue to elevate everyone in this community that makes that culture come to life.
Thank you also again, Kelly, for being here. We are certainly appreciative of being able to have this conversation with you going into the new year. And I'm wondering, as an extension of the economic impact that you were speaking to, I'm always curious, how has that, or how do you see that having already impacted communities or small entrepreneurs or folks who sometimes find themselves on the disadvantaged end of, some of these big ventures, right? How has this positively impacted those persons in those communities as we're exiting 2025, but also what does that look like going into 2026?
Sure, that's a great question. We're optimistic about 2026. I mean, if you look at the city overall, we've got record low murder rates. I think the lowest murder rate since the 1970s, which is very encouraging. We've got a new mayor coming in. And many new leaders throughout the city council and whatnot. So, when we have people in town for tourism, that is good for everyone. So we talk about, one of our measures of success is hotel occupancy. And, that's one measure of success. But when we've got people in town, as we do today for New Year's Eve and Sugar Bowl, that means people are also going out and spending their hard-earned money in restaurants, in museums, in music venues. They're taking tours. They're hopefully walking around and buying art from street vendors. They're really, getting out into the community and spending their hard-earned dollars. And so that is a trickle-down effect for everyone that lives and works in New Orleans. And it gives us an economic boost that we would not otherwise have in this city. And not only when you see it from big events like the Super Bowl, but, every week of the year, we're welcoming conventions and meetings. We're welcoming, people that are just here coming for leisure visits, whether that's a wedding or a family reunion or a bachelorette trip or something like that. Every week, those people are arriving and bringing economic impact to our community that we would not otherwise have if it were not for those tourist dollars.
I have a couple of questions, Kelly, but one I want to start from is, quick story. I was in Nashville. I was hanging out with a friend of mine. And he said, hey, my wife and I, we're empty nesters. And so we're just traveling right now. What's going on in New Orleans? And my brain froze. Here's why. Because we have so many great festivals. And we're a festival city. Yeah. And so I stood there and I was like, man, there's so many festivals. I'm trying to figure out which one you and your wife should come hang out for. I was like, I don't know.
Yeah, you can't even list them all.
I couldn't. I mean, I was like, I don't know, Gumbo Festival. I mean, and so so when you think about that and you think about when you think about that and you think about a new initiative, which is really, really cool. New Orleans Company, you've embraced innovation. You've launched MindTrip AI. And this is something that's integrating an AI-powered trip planning tool into NewOrleans.com to make it easier for visitors. So talk about that. Talk about the opportunity that people will have to leverage AI to make the most of their visit in New Orleans.
Well, I'm glad that you brought that up, and I'm glad to hear that your friend in Nashville is looking to come visit, because many of our visitors do come from Tennessee and kind of the southern region of the United States. And you're right. I mean, it is hard to list. I work at New Orleans & Company, and sometimes I can't even list all of the festivals because there are so many. I mean, we used to joke that what some cities call their annual festival calendar, we call April, right? And it's not just April. It's not just April. It's all year round. I mean, some of my favorites are the Gumbo Festival and Po' Boy Fest and Beignet Fest and some of the things that happen in the fall months specifically. But so yes, I mean, we are constantly trying to target people exactly like your friends that are looking for a place to go. And one of the ways that we're doing that is through a partnership with MindTrip AI. Which is a company that does trip planning tools. So we've basically taken their programming that uses AI, which I know everyone's talking about, and that's the buzzword for 26 for sure. And we've integrated it into our website, NewOrleans.com. And it basically, if someone is looking to plan an itinerary or to plan a personalized trip that really caters to their interest and their likes and what they want to do when they take a vacation here, MindTrip AI just helps them do that in a more efficient way. And so we've listed this as one of our highlights for 2025. We're really excited about this partnership, and NewOrleans.com is a great resource anyway. We have a very talented team led by Jeremy Cooker on our staff that manages this content every day. But the MindTrip AI will make it even easier for people to plan their trip and really personalize it to what they want to do when they get here using AI.
So let's talk future. Tell us about Vision 2035.
That was another highlight this year that we launched. Vision 2035 is basically a 10-year strategic plan. Y'all may remember back in 2013, we did what they called a tourism strategic plan for 10 years. And that called for things like redeveloping the riverfront and building a new airport and big things that we were able to accomplish. And so when it came time to do another 10-year plan that'll get us to 2035, it wasn't just New Orleans & Company. We wanted to be very collaborative and inclusive. And so we went to our partners at the Urban League, the Greater New Orleans Foundation, G&O Inc., the Chamber of Commerce, and we said, let's make sure that we're building a plan that not only is specific to tourism, but that makes the city work and the region work for everyone. So it's not just about making this a great place to visit. It's really about, if we make this a good place to live and work, it will naturally become a better place to visit. Mm-hmm. And so that was sort of the thinking behind the plan. Alice Glenn and Walt Leger and our team have really been leading this, and we're proud of it. It's going to be a long-term process, but it looks at things that, like reliable transportation and affordable housing and, making sure that people have childcare and can get to work, and just things that are sort of basic but are powerful. And when we do all of these things right in collaboration with all of these community partners, we do believe that the end result will be a better experience for visitors, but also for all of us who live and work here.
So you probably have already tapped into this in some ways, but I'm wondering if you could expound or speak a little more to it. The saying that New Orleans is built to host, right? But also built to lead. And so if you
Yes.
will speak a little more about how you see New Orleans as a city not only built to host, but also built to lead, and what that leading or leadership looks like moving forward for the city.
Yeah, that is a great question. You know, we launched Built to Host, Stephanie Turner on our team, as sort of a meetings and convention brand, right? Many people think of New Orleans and they think of Mardi Gras and the partying side. They don't necessarily always think of us as a place to come and do business and have conventions and meetings and these big association meetings that, many, many cities compete for. So we launched the Built to Host brand, and I think it speaks so beautifully to what New Orleans is. I mean, first of all, when we say we're built to host, one of the things we mean is our hospitality expertise. No one does it better than we do in New Orleans. And having the hospitality expertise, having a hospitality community that works together. I mean, when we're looking at things like Essence Fest and others, the hotels aren't competing with each other. They're saying, let's get the visitors to New Orleans. We want them to be here. We're not going to worry about where they stay. We want them to choose New Orleans as a destination. So they look at the expertise. They look at how walkable the city is. People love that you can go from the convention center to the Caesars Superdome to French Quarter restaurants and music clubs and hotels all within a mile of each other. When you're in New Orleans, you're not going to spend an hour in a shuttle bus going to your venue. And that's especially for something like an Essence Fest, why people love being here because everything is so compact. So all of the assets that we have make us built to host. But then we also talk about being built to lead. And if you think about what we've had to do and step up in a tough year and really lead this industry, and despite a terrorist attack, despite a snowstorm, despite every other headwind that we faced this year, being able to step up and say, we're still going to lead this community and bring in major events and work every day so that every person in every neighborhood, every worker, every business, every musician, every artist, every cook or chef can make sure that they're in a city that is doing well and thriving, and that we never, ever lose that appeal that New Orleans has globally. I mean, I've had the chance to travel around the world and represent New Orleans, and the reaction is always the same. When you say you're from New Orleans, people smile and they say, oh my gosh, I love New Orleans. And they automatically tell you a story about when they were there and what happened to them. And usually that story revolves around one specific person that they engaged with, right? A bartender or a musician or a driver or someone that they met, or just, someone sitting in a restaurant next to them. And so we're built to host. A big part of that is because of our people. And we're built to lead because I'll tell you, no matter what is thrown at us, this community always steps up. I mean, who would have thought a year ago when we were dealing with, a terrorist attack and a snowstorm and then, looking into the end of the year and saying, wow, despite all of that, we really did lead and step up and have some amazing moments too. And that's something that we should be proud of.
And I'd like to thank you for those that added information. I also want to say that our thoughts are with the family members and the loved ones of those who endured that traumatic event, the terrorist attack. We're thinking about you all as we're continuing to talk about exiting 2025. I understand, and we do realize that these are triggering times for those loved ones. And so we want to certainly pay homage and give remembrance to those who were lost in that event, and then those who are survivors of that event. And also, interestingly, you reminded us of something, Kelly, the snowstorm. The two have nothing to do with each other, but I do want to say that I totally forgot. I don't know how. I can't imagine.
Well,
but yeah.
I'll tell you that snowstorm coincided with the arrival of one of our major citywide conventions.
Yeah.
We had 22,000 automobile dealers coming to town for the National Association of Automobile Dealers annual meeting. They've been a customer of the city for decades, and their meeting just happened to be in January. And it was like, oh, well, you're arriving in the middle of this historic snowstorm.
Wow.
I'll tell you, they still had their convention. It was safe. It was successful. Most of their people were able to still make it to the city. Unfortunately, there were some weather-related cancellations, but that's another example when we say we're built to lead. I will tell you that the people at New Orleans and Company, the convention center, you had hotel managers out in front of their buildings sweeping away snow. I mean, everyone really just came together and said, we're going to move forward and take care of this customer and make sure that their attendees can get here and have a safe and successful event despite this, historic snowstorm. And they did. So, yeah, when you look back at 25, there were so many moments like, oh, my goodness, like what?
Yeah, for sure.
There were. Well, Kelly, we are looking forward to a great 2026. Thank you so much for joining us, as always, on the Good Morning Show. And Happy New Year to you and everybody in New Orleans and Company.
Happy New Year, and thank you to everyone at WBOK. You guys give us so much time to speak with your listeners all year long, and we really appreciate you. Thank you so much, and I hope you all have a great New Year.
You have a great one as well. Yes, we're going to be back in just a little bit on the other side on the Good Morning Show on WBOK, what New Orleans is talking about.
Interest rates and inflation are out of control. Is your credit card debt also out of control? It's time to resolve your debt and take back control for a lot less than what you owe. If you have $10,000 or more in credit card debt, then you need to call us right now. Debt Fix Pros can significantly reduce the amount you owe, and you could be debt-free faster than you think.
I knew we had to do something. Our debt was growing.
It was getting out of control, and we just didn't know what to do.
We saw an ad for Debt Fix Pros. We called, and they showed us how fast they could get us out of debt.
It really was amazing, and now we're back in control.
Call now, and we'll show you how easy it is to fix your debt. The call and consultation are free. Call Debt Fix Pros right now at 800-311-5977. That's 800-311-5977. 800-311-5977.
Every year, the lights return to City Park, and as if by magic, so do we. Families reunited, kids wide-eyed, old memories meeting new ones. Celebration in the Oaks is more than a holiday tradition. It is where New Orleans comes together to shine. Don't miss the magic. Make Celebration in the Oaks your holiday tradition and help City Park shine for generations to come. Go to celebrationintheoaks.com and grab your tickets before they're gone.
Hi, I'm Monica Pierre.
And I'm Sally Ann Roberts, and we are the host of your Power is On gospel music show on WBOK Sunday mornings.
Best wishes this time of year. Remember, it's all about faith, family, and food.
Happy holidays, everyone. Enjoy. And remember, your power is on.
Good morning. Wake up. The Good Morning Show. Good morning. On WBOK.
And welcome back to the Good Morning Show as we enter the home stretch. And good morning to Oren G96 joining us on YouTube. Good morning also to Shannon Swift. Melma, thank you so much for joining us. All right, got a couple of calls. We're going to wrap up and we're going to have to make these quick. So, Larry, you're on. You got a couple of minutes here. What you got?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I didn't have a chance to talk to the lady that was on.
Oh, yeah.
But, I've been a part of the hospitality and tourist industry for a long time. I did 10 years at the Jazz Festival. I had 2 booths. Plus, I did the World's Fair. Mm-hmm. So I've been involved in New Orleans. New Orleans is a unique place. I think they had 20 million visitors came to New Orleans last year. 20 million. The population of Louisiana is a little more than 4 million. So that's 5 times the population. I wanted to ask her, why do people come here? Who are they? I used to have the statistics on the people that came from the international people, but I lost it. That was a while back. But what attracts the people that come here? The ambiance, the culture, and the food. But I truly, really want to ask her, whose culture, whose food, whose ambiance? And could she give me a true answer?
Oh, well, yeah, that probably would have been interesting. Larry, thanks a lot for joining us. But we know the answer. We know the answer.
Talking to the population, radio population, they want to know. They want to hear honesty and truth. Sure. And if we avoid that, that's not being legitimate.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I hear you, Larry. And thanks a lot for calling in this morning. Let's go ahead and let's wind down with Alicia. Hey, good morning, Alicia.
Good morning. Good morning to the both of you.
Good morning.
I'm with the caller who just got off.
With Larry, yeah.
I agree with him, and I'm sorry I missed the opportunity to speak to her as well. I'm so sick of us making this more and more of a poor city. When you talk about redevelopment of the riverfront, that's for tourists. And with these low-paying industry service jobs, it keeps our people poor. And when are they going to talk about expanding the port? We used to rival New York, number 1 and number 2 in port.
Mm-hmm.
Now we're not. We had stevedores, longshoremen. Those are the people who was all over the city making money. Now you have people, I was floored to find out that the waiters and stuff in the restaurants only make $2.13 an hour. $2.13 an hour. And the hoteliers and restaurateurs, they depend on people giving them tips. Tips are supposed to be lanyard. So when you're breaking down the riverfront for these tourist ventures, that makes our city poor. And they want to keep us poor. When are we going to step up and stop this foolishness? Pay the people. You want to keep them in service industry jobs? Pay them better money. Pay them the minimum wage. Buy them bus tickets so they can get to work. This is ridiculous, and we are celebrating this. We're celebrating our community getting poorer and poorer. It makes me sick. I wish I would have been able to speak to her about it. I'm just tired of them smiling and grinning in our face, and we're constantly getting poorer. Happy New Year, y'all.
All right, Happy New Year, Alicia. Thank you very much, and thank you for that because I mean, this is a signal though. This is the sign for people to get more involved as we go into 2026. Now we have to answer the question: how can we get more involved to create the success that we need to create? It's not easy. It's going to be hard. It is going to be extraordinarily hard because of the system that we have. And so
but it can be done.
But it can be done. And so I think continuing to use WBOK as a platform to figure out what that success is going to look like and what that fight is going to, because it is a fight, and figuring out what that fight is going to look like is the best that we can do right now. And I hate that we only have a minute left in the show, but I will say that I think for 2026, what would be, I'm going to let you have the last word, Doc. What would be your message going into 2026 so that we can empower ourselves and make a difference and make the changes that Alicia's talked about?
You know, so again, we don't have enough time, but I would say intentional. We have to be intentional, particularly if we're thinking about issues that continue to plague our communities, our everyday lives, right? Especially those who, quote unquote, might, be the least of us. And when I say the least of us, those who are really battling in the trenches, right? Economically and otherwise, like we have to use our spaces of privilege, whatever that might be, our voices, the various platforms that we have. Some of us continue to do that anyway, but I'm especially talking to those who may not have made full use of that, right? Like it's about being intentional again. And we may not have the immediate answer or the immediate results, but I think it's an ongoing issue. These are ongoing hardships that we have faced as a people. More specifically, New Orleans have faced, Black New Orleans. But I think that freedom, liberation, that is an ongoing assignment to push towards that. And so we sit down, we strategize, right? What does that mean individually? What does that mean collectively? And it is in that space that we continue to work and pick at each issue one by one, two by two, whatever the case might be, until we get the desired results.
And to go back to your original point as we started the show, lean into our connection with one another.
It's all connected.
Let's do it. Let's make it happen. All right, that's it for 2025 on the Good Morning Show. So we're going to see y'all next year.
Yes.
Will Sutton is going to be back.
You all.
Have a safe new year.
Yes.
And most of all, have a prosperous new year. Happy New Year to you. Eddie Francis in for Will Sutton, Dr. Andrea Boyles. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Coming up next is the Front Porch, Campbell Grayland. They need friends, so hang out with them. It's the Good Morning Show on WBOK. What New Orleans is talking about. Thank y'all much.
Thank
Blessings.
you. Take care.